friends, good morning. Today I would like to do an exciting video about Jupiter and Saturn's conjunction, which is a rare conjunction that happens every 20 years. This conjunction is going to happen on December 21st, 2020. So I would like to tell you that this is one of the most important conjunctions in astrology, because Saturn is a very slow moving planet, and Jupiter also is not as slow as Saturn, but still two heavy planets joining together in a sign on December 21st. So to my surprise, when I look at the other charts, the divisional charts, in Navamsha, Dashamsha, Shashtyamsa, and in every chart they are together on December 21st. Jupiter and Saturn are together in all the divisional charts, including the Rashi chart. So I would like to just give a general overview of what is Jupiter and what is Saturn, and what does the combination signify. So Jupiter, everybody knows that Jupiter is a planet of expansion, optimism, higher learning, guide, teaching, preaching. And Jupiter is also Jiva Karaka, right? It's a life across all species on the planet. And Jupiter also a natural Karaka for 912 houses from zodiac, because Jupiter rules two signs. One is Sagittarius, which is a Mulatrikona, and one is Pisces. So predominantly Jupiter would show the 9th and 12th house results. Now coming to Saturn. So what is Saturn? Saturn is delay. Saturn is restriction. Saturn is restriction. Saturn is discipline. Saturn is pessimism. And Saturn is discrimination. And Saturn is loss. So when a planet of optimism conjoins a planet of pessimism, what happens? It produces a neutral energy. So the overall net influence is neither optimism nor pessimism. So most of the people, they get perplexed, confused because of this combination. If you see at the mundane level, at the world level, during that time, all the world economies would be thinking whether to expand or not, because Jupiter is a planet of expansive nature and Saturn is a planet of restrictive nature. So the economies, they stuck because of this combination. They want to make 3 steps forward. At the same time, something is influencing them negatively, push them 3 steps backward. So the net result is 0. But there is a difference. If you assess the dignity and strength of Jupiter and Saturn in Capricorn, Saturn in Capricorn is more powerful than Jupiter in Capricorn, because Jupiter is debilitated here and Saturn is in one house. So what happens? People who are of high wisdom and knowledge, they come down to take up a physical work, because Saturn eclipses Jupiter They can't connect. The Jupiterian people, they can't connect to higher divine, and they can't be optimistic as they were. So they come down and start working hard, and they develop practical perspectives for everything. But in contrast to, the nature of Jupiter is very emotional, because that's what a teacher is, that's what a guru is, a guide is. He can't be practical, because Capricorn is a 10th sign from zodiac, and Jupiter debilitates here because Capricorn is a earthy sign. Earthy sign means it's a sign that signifies hardships and hard work. So a guru can't work hard on a material plane. He can only give you divine wisdom. He can only give you guidance. So Jupiterian people, they feel lack of that inner connect because of Jupiter getting debilitated and eclipsed by Saturn. Here the Saturn dominates Jupiter. Now coming to each sign, let us see the results. For Aries, Jupiter and Saturn would be in their 10th house, which is house of career, profession, name, fame, and father's properties. So they feel like, their career is stuck. It's neither going forward nor going backward. And they end up taking more responsibilities, because the Saturn and Jupiter, they are very heavy planets. Because hard work overtakes intelligence, they have to work hard, not work smart. And for Taurus people, because this combination, this conjunction is happening in their 9th house. So what is 9th house? Father, spirituality, higher learning, and travel, overseas travels, change of job, change of profession. So certainly this is not a time for them, this will not be a good time for them to seek a job change. If they want to change their job, better they do it before December, because during that particular time, December 21st, because Saturn and Jupiter both are almost close, they would be in 6 degrees. So their father figure will be in focus, in limelight. And also the Jupiter and Saturn, they aspect Cancer with 7th aspect. So it's a 3rd house. What is 3rd house? 3rd house is communication. So Saturn restricts communication and Jupiter wants to communicate. Jupiter wants to expand that communication. And also 3rd house is a house of younger brother, younger sibling, and courage, initiation. So all these things are affected for Taurus people. For Gemini, this would be a bit painful conjunction for them, because Jupiter and Saturn, they will be in 8th house, and they would be aspecting their 2nd house, Cancer being the 2nd house from Gemini. So they come across unnecessary huge expenses, and they don't feel, being peace at home, because it is happening in 8th house. They have to be very careful when it comes to going for long drives. and also they may face some kind of turmoil in their marital life, because 8th house is marital bliss. Because Jupiter is a planet that make them feel like, let us stay together. Saturn is a planet, no, let's separate. So they will not be in a position to make any decision. So they have to endure, keep quiet for some time till Jupiter leaves Capricorn and enters Aquarius. For Cancer, this conjunction will have a huge impact, because this would be happening in their 7th house, and both the planets, they aspect their moon sign. So usually Jupiter aspect is good, but it's a kind of a combined energy. They will not be in a position to understand what is that influencing them. Is it a positive energy or a negative energy? What is that guiding them? What is that provoking them? What is that demotivating them? So they'll be perplexed, because 7th house is house of partner and marriage. So that won't be, December 21st won't be a good time for them to start new beginnings, new relationships, or getting into marriage, for Cancer people especially. And for Leo, Jupiter and Saturn, they will be in 6th house, which is good. Usually Saturn in 6 does well, extremely well. Jupiter in 6 is also okay. He's a kind of moderate. He works moderately in 6th house, neither benefic nor malefic. So the Leo moon sign people, they find opportunities, because 6th house is house of service. So that's the best time for them to find some work, get employed. But they need to keep a tab on their health, because 6th house Jupiter may create some health issues. And because also 6th house is house of enemies, so Saturn in 6th house is good actually in fighting against enemies. But Jupiter in 6th house, Jupiter acts like Ketu. Okay, let us don't fight with anyone. Let us be friendly. But Saturn wants to fight. So for Virgo, this combination would be in their 5th house. What is 5th house? 5th house is higher learning, creativity, speculation, children. Anything that you learn and would like to implement at your job, that learning is seen from 5th house. So this is the time these people, they tend to gamble, speculate. They try to make like money in the market, stock markets. And as I mentioned, because this is neither a good energy nor a bad energy, they have to be careful. They have to go for only long-term investments, and they should not go for intraday trading or futures. They should not look for quick gains. Actually, Jupiter in 5th house, actually he supports, that energy supports for speculation. But because Saturn is there, so Saturn basically eclipsing Jupiter, so he nullifies the positive impact of Jupiter. So that will not be a good time for them to invest in stock markets. So if they are already invested by the time, then I advise them to remain invested. And 5th house is house of learning, that whatever you learn, that you implement in your job. So these people, they find it very hard to learn new things. And another good thing for them is the Jupiter and Saturn's aspect. It would be on their 11th house. So 11th house is house of gains, one thing, and 11th house is elder brother. So these things will be in focus for them. Connecting with the bigger network, because the 11th house is house of bigger network, friends. And for Libra people, Libra moon sign people, Jupiter and Saturn, they would be in their 4th house. So usually, like, Saturn in 4th house is not auspicious, because Jupiter joining Saturn, Jupiter actually can work in nullifying, suppressing the negative influence of Saturn. So Jupiter loses his power to give any extra benefits to Libra people, because he keeps on suppressing Saturn's effect. So but it will be good time, better time. And because 4th house is house of mother, home, vehicles. So these are the areas that get into limelight. So they have to keep a tab on their mother's health, and if they want to buy or dispose a property, land, and they need to wait for a good time, because that will not be a good time for them to purchase or sell anything. For Scorpio moon sign people, this combination, this conjunction is very auspicious, because the conjunction is kind of more of malefic in nature. Usually, like, malefics work very extremely well in 3rd house. So for them, Jupiter and Saturn conjunction will be happening in 3rd house from their moon sign. So 3rd house is a house of courage, house of initiation, effort, communication. For Sagittarius people, this would be like Saturn and Jupiter conjunction would be happening in their 2nd house, which is the house of money, bank position, self-expression, and speech. So these people, they will face communication problems related to speech. That is one thing. And they need to keep a tab on their diet, because Jupiter and Saturn, they are heavy planets sitting in their 2nd house. They may consume a lot of food, and they may end up gaining weight. And also 2nd house is a house of family. So their family will be in limelight somehow. They'll be either running into issues or resolving disputes, working on resolving disputes. So for Capricorn people, yes, this is a very significant conjunction, because this conjunction happening on their sign, moon sign. 2 heavy planets, they conjunct on their moon sign and aspecting 7th house. It is likely that they gain a lot of weight, one thing. The other thing is Jupiter's optimism is getting nullified by Saturn's pessimism, and Saturn's pessimism is getting nullified by Jupiter's optimism. So they feel a lot of anxiety and stress because of this combinational energy. So they'll be perplexed or confused. They won't be in a position to make any decisions, and they may have some conflicts, issues with their marriage partner or business partner. For Aquarius people, it would be in their 12th sign. So for Aquarius moon sign, they are already running Sadecity, and this combination, they may end up doing huge investment, because 12th house is a house of investments and a house of losses, and also it's a house of self-sacrifice. So I recommend for Aquarius people, I recommend them doing some charity, incline towards spiritual side to suppress the negative energy. because Saturn and Jupiter both being heavy planets, when they join 12th house, they may either end up with a huge investment or huge loss, or their character will be questioned because of this conjunction. And for Pisces, I say this is most auspicious conjunction for Pisces people, because this would be happening in their 11th house. They see improvement in their bank position, they go for new investments, they buy home, vehicles, they have all the comforts and luxuries of new home, vehicles, and their elder brother will be in limelight. Something significant will be happening with their elder brother, elder siblings. So friends, this is rarest combination. So it happened in 2000 February, and again it is happening after 20 years. So I would like everyone to make use of this energy and move forward successfully. Thank you.